Welcome to 2025, where criticizing a movie is now a war crime. Hey y'all, SnarkyJay cosplay here. If you've ever expressed an opinion on the internet and heard something like, just let people enjoy things, be grateful you got it in the first place, stop being so toxic, and if you don't like it, don't watch it, well, you might be a hateful maniac deserving of all the internet's vitriol. Or you might have expressed an opinion that triggered the feelings of the cult of positivity. We live in a society in which people now mistake other people's opinions for not just attacks on that piece of content, but also on the world's peace at large. People hate to hear opinions they don't agree with. They like to act like your negative opinion about something is actively ruining that thing for them, and they are so willing to want to silence you, to tell you to not engage with the content because you're such an obviously angry hater for not liking the 17 millionth lackluster superhero movie to be released. There's usually one comment I hear consistently when it comes to these things, which is the don't like it, don't watch it thing. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to like the thing before I see it. I might have speculated before, but as somebody who regularly engages with superhero content and IPs and that kind of thing, I would like to see the thing as opposed to just operating on my assumptions for the rest of my life. And besides being told just not to engage with the thing, we now actively get called haters just for pointing out flaws. Everything has to be perfect. If it's good, it's amazing. If it's great, it's brilliant. It's absolutely perfect. And if you point out anything that you personally didn't like, even if it's through an analytical, just opinion sharing perspective, you apparently are the lowest of the low in the eyes of the cult of positivity, which are arguably some of the least positive people I've ever dealt with. So where does the cult of positivity come from? Well, realistically, they do come from a place of good intentions. I think the phrase, let people enjoy things, is halfway their motto and also something that is worth appreciating, right? I have friends that really like the musical stylings of Chappell Roan and Sabrina Carpenter, and both of those people make me want to bang my head into the tile of my floor. But to be honest, when they bring them up or discuss how much they like their music or they want to listen to their music, I'm typically like, you know what? Yeah, go ahead. Enjoy. I just won't give my opinion because for me, I want to let them enjoy these things. There's a difference though between that sentiment being used as a reminder to be kind to your fellow man, woman, friend, fellow internet commenter, whatever you want to call them, and it's shifted into being basically a shield for bad media and lazy internet commentary. I mean, again, the sentiments behind letting people enjoy things are important, but the fact of the matter is that somebody else's opinion doesn't stop you from getting to enjoy something, and if it does, you probably didn't like it to begin with, and you're probably more mad at yourself than me. So that whole sentiment of letting people enjoy things ends up literally being weaponized against fellow fans. Any criticism, even when it's objectively productive criticism, gets seen as negativity and then gets transformed into toxic fandom. And at the end of the day, yeah, the studios and the production companies are more than happy to call their detractors toxic, bigots, whatever, but there's nobody that hates another fan more than a fan that likes something that the other fan didn't like. So these fans go into it with the studios to essentially weaponize Backlash and attack people that they don't agree with. And above all, the end goal is silencing the people that potentially have something negative to say. I think the first fandom that I really saw this take root in was Star Wars. I mean, everybody has that saying of nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans, but I don't think anybody hates Star Wars fans as much as other Star Wars fans. There are some bad actors and toxic opinions out there for sure. I'm not saying that toxicity doesn't exist among these fandoms, but I also think that the people in the cult of positivity actively seek to name every negative thing as toxic to therefore discredit any potential opinions that don't fall in line with their own. And there's a big problem with forced positivity. I would say there was a number of different problems with forced positivity. The first of which is that it suppresses genuine discussion. I think a lot of humanity has actively forgotten how to speak to each other. People are angrier than ever. Any possible discourse or disagreement basically turns into a screaming match. And so besides that, when there's this thing about, well, just let people enjoy things. If I were to listen to that and just be silenced, then there would be no discussion. There is no alternative opinion. There's no intelligent conversation about anything because we're all just living in one echo chamber because we're listening to the positivity and anybody that feels differently has been silenced. This sort of thinking also just rewards stan culture and punishes nuance, which to me is a little bit ridiculous because when you consider that the whole stan culture for things like Star Wars, you're basically actively white knighting and defending a multi-billion-dollar corporation that doesn't care about you against other people that probably have way more in common with you than anybody at Star Wars does, which is kind of insane. I think a lot of fandoms tend to lean so hard into the fake positivity thing because they're afraid to be perceived as negative. And see, I think a lot of people have a problem having to acknowledge that anything they like might have some flaws. And I think that we can look at something like Star Wars or Marvel, DC, even some of our favorite movies and go, well, these are imperfect. Now, we may or may not disagree with somebody's negative assessments of what we think, but if we believe strongly enough in the things that we love, then it really shouldn't matter that somebody else doesn't like it. And it basically boils down to a huge number of the population in fandoms basically falling into blind worship of the things that they enjoy. I mean, we look now and we're basically in an era of pure backlash against any and all types of criticisms. And it's not even normal types of backlash where people might just argue their point. It literally boils down to assessments of who you are as a person and direct insults. If you didn't like the last two phases of Marvel, it's probably because you're a woman-hating, racist, misogynistic, transphobic, burnt-out fanboy who needs to get the f off the internet. If you didn't like The Acolyte, it's probably because you're a racist, bigoted piece of that doesn't like women. I remember when I reviewed She-Hulk, for instance. She-Hulk was an almost universally hated show, so I felt very comfortable in giving my perspective, and I felt like a lot of people agreed with me. But there were a number of women that came at me for that show and claimed that I was only doing the reviews that way because I hated women and because it was my own internalized misogyny. And I kind of sat there like, what the f is wrong with you? When I reviewed The Acolyte, I got a lot of people telling me, just be happy we got it in the first place. You're a toxic fan. Let people enjoy things. The let people enjoy things I got a lot when it came to Superman, for instance. And I kind of felt like, okay, I am letting you enjoy it, though. You didn't have to click this video. Like, my thumbnail showed you this was going to be a negative review. I didn't come to your house and go, hey, let me ask you something. Did you like Superman? I'm gonna go ahead and tell you all the reasons why you're wrong. No, and in fact, if you had approached me at a bar and asked me what I thought of Superman, if I gave you my opinion and you told me you loved it, I would probably just stop talking about Superman entirely and look for an opportunity to change the subject so I wouldn't risk offending you. And I will admit, yes, there are trolls out there that will look for positive reviews of things they didn't like and they'll attack you on that basis and they want to start arguments with you. The trolls exist. But a lot of people really just exist to give their opinion. I'm never gonna come knocking down your door to shove my opinion down your throat. If you're here, it's because you chose to click this. So if you're offended by my fucking opinion, that is on you. I've loved a lot of things that people don't like. You know, one of the most controversial things that I'm a huge fan of, and I'm gonna go ahead and out myself in this video. I love Greta Van Fleet. I am well aware that Greta Van Fleet's early music was a lot like Led Zepp. Every fucking time I post anything that includes Greta Van Fleet's music or I talk about Greta Van Fleet, some angry old man comes and tell me, oh yeah, you like shitty ass fucking Led Zepp ripoffs, you dumb bitch. And I literally have spent years either going like, yep, I do, or completely ignoring things like that. And those comments have not made me dislike Greta Van Fleet. They've not made me like them any less. Other people's lack of enjoyment does not mean you can't enjoy that thing. It's that simple. The fact of the matter is that criticism is actually super important. If you don't criticize things when they need to be criticized, these things likely won't change. If nobody comments on how absolutely The Acolyte was, if nobody complains about how ridiculous She-Hulk was, then none of these companies make a change, and they just keep doing what they're doing, and we all have to suffer in silence as things get progressively worse. Criticism usually, if they make sense, leads to accountability, growth, and later better content. If we look at the Sonic movies, remember the first version of Sonic? That thing was horrifying. And then they got bullied, they delayed the movie, and they fixed him. And they made a franchise of Sonic films that look a lot better than what we were originally gonna get. Criticism isn't always a direct attack. Some criticism, yes, is a direct attack. But some should and can open the doors to healthy conversations about things. I think what a lot of fans don't realize is that quite often criticism comes from a love for the material. I don't criticize Star Wars and Marvel, for instance, because it's fun and I'm a hater and this is my therapy session is about Star Wars. I do it because I love these properties and I want to see them get better. And maybe it's naive of me, but I hope that someday when I make these videos where I talk about like Disney's new princesses or whatever, I hope that somewhere, somehow, these sentiments will reach ears that they should reach. And somebody will go, yeah, you know what, I didn't think about it that way, or I didn't realize people felt that way, let's do something different. And when you look at it that way, and you try and acknowledge criticism as something positive coming from people who probably care enough to put that criticism out there, then what you realize is that the cult of positivity turns fandom into a safe space for the major corporations, not the fans. I know a lot of people really want to keep up the toxic positivity thing, but realistically, we need to think about it this way. If your toxic positivity extends to wanting to silence people that don't disagree with you and personally attacking them, then you're objectively the negative one, white knighting for a corporation that probably hates you. We can all sit in the same room and love and hate the same shit differently, and the best thing that any of us can do is do something that I once read in a book and turn the other cheek. And that's all from me. I've been SnarkyJay. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more SnarkyJay, be sure to check me out on Instagram, and if you'd like to support me, this channel, and my content creation, do check out and consider subscribing to my Patreon for exclusive photoshoot sets and cosplay content. I'll add links to all of those in the description below. And let me know your favorite line of toxic positivity in the comments below.